I don't know, man. It's tough to really say if this is just based on race or not. We just got to kind of get away from everything about race. Some of this stuff is about, some of these people are fighting for their rights to certain sexualities and certain types of stuff. We just got to recognize that everybody that's, our people is their, whatever they like first, and then their race. And a lot of people are like that. And, a lot of people are for what they believe in their bedroom, and not what they, not fighting really for their race. You're fighting kind of for two things. A lot of people are fighting for two things, or multiple things.
We are back. See, you got me nervous. You told me you trusted me. I gotta go back to
another episode of Podcast Official Page. All right.
It's the podcast. We ain't the cable guy, but we your Comcast. Come take a seat. We need to speak and we can all laugh. Last Monday of the month, 7:30. Zoom in, chime in. We be talking dirty. It's the podcast. We ain't the cable guy, but we your Comcast. Come take a seat. We need to speak and we can all laugh. Last Monday of the month, 7:30. Zoom in, chime in. We be talking dirty. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
This the podcast. This platform for you. It ain't for me. So let's hear what you got to say.
This has been the best broadcast we've had.
I personally am not a very political person. I don't really pay attention to politics. I have my thoughts about all politicians as a whole that I'll express later. But it does seem to me, which is where this question kind of stems from, it does seem to me that more than policies or procedures or, people just say voting their interests when it comes down to what the candidate is going to do for them, it a lot of times appears to be more about just say a racial thing. It just always seems like somehow race has gotten spewed into the conversation. So I wanted to know you guys' thoughts about that. Is the presidential race about politics and policies and stuff like that? Or is the presidential race about race?
To me, it started out, in the very beginning, it started out like policies, it seemed like, because former President Trump was talking about that President Biden was the worst ever, and his politics on this is he's letting people over into the United States and the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
But it seems as though as soon as our Vice President, Madam Kamala Harris, got in the race, it switched and seemed to be more about race to me, because he just started right out the gate talking about, she didn't know what race she was. One minute she's Indian, next minute she this, that, and other, and all that. Then it shifted from that to talking about, the immigrants coming into the United States, taking jobs. Then he said the immigrants is the reason why the economy is bad. And then it went to talking about immigrants eating animals, and it just gotten crazy, and it seemed to me to be much more about race than it was in the very beginning. So yeah, I think it's about race.
But you think it's about race more specifically during this Donald Trump era, or do you think it's always been about race?
Well, you can always kind of dab a little bit in pretty much all of them, well, not all, but I mean majority here and there, but nothing like what's happening right now. Right now it's full blown. I mean, it's like it's crazy. I mean, even just yesterday I think it was, he at the rally is talking about Puerto Ricans. And Puerto Ricans supposed to be a part of the United States.
Right.
So if the problem is immigrants and people from another country, I mean, why are you bothering the Puerto Ricans?
People just take things. This whole world is just messed up, man. More than less. Okay, it's like going to get a job. Everybody is trying out for the job. Say like if it was one job, but it was 12 people trying to get this job. You had 12 applicants, that fill out the application, and there's only one could get it. Everybody gonna pitch their own story. Everybody gonna pitch their own persona, like what they do, and everybody want to be better than the next person.
Right.
So that's what politics is. She go tell a lot of lies. Donald Trump been telling lies, and everybody just gonna play their hand. It's like a card game, you know. You got winners and losers. Somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. But they all get in the chair and lie. They don't do nothing what they say they're gonna do, and this world's still been going like it's going. Now, do I think it's racism and stuff? It been racism from day one. You know, count how many black presidents we had on one hand. Of course, it's racism. You know, they don't want no black person in there or nobody that's representing us. Nah. On the other hand, about him saying about all the stuff, I heard the guy just saying, oh, that's true. It's not a smoke screen, you know. It's for the people who feel like, oh, he just saying this, but yeah. Once he start letting other people see, people don't. That's like moving in with somebody. They don't live like you. So if they messy and you clean, then your house dirty. You feel me? And you gonna catch that, man. You know, clean up behind you. So clean up your own backyard before you go and letting all these people in and sending money across seas and letting everybody come in and you can see who getting the houses and stuff. Because I'm out here, I see it. You know, it happened to me. You know, so it's like these foreigners just taking over. You can't go to Russia, or you can't just pop up in Russia. Try to pop up in Russia.
Yeah.
And see how far you get.
Yeah.
So people just coming, they just coming over here and everything going bad. Everything going bad. So he said something about Puerto Rican, and that was a comedian who said something. I didn't find it offensive. They been talking about black people forever. So I didn't find it offensive. That's just something he said. I mean, he a comedian. We gonna say something because God knows I have said something, you know. And it's just that he said something about, Puerto Ricans. So what? I mean, I get over it, man. Everybody's so sensitive to this world, this life thing. So yeah, it's been about race, of course. But Donald Trump is the same Donald Trump that always been. He always been just like he is right now. He never changed. He showed y'all who he was the first time, and he been showing people who he was from day one. So ain't nothing new about Donald Trump. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's nothing new about him. He was racist from the beginning. So what you shocked for? He just doing what he doing. So we need to find out what's gonna go on with us when this thing happens. That's what we need to focus on.
So race does factor into everything. Unfortunately, it does kind of factor in, but I don't think. I just think the former president Trump, he's just an idiot. So he don't know. No one's ever taught him how to think before you speak or anything like that. I think he'd just be rambling off a bunch of stuff. Right. Because if he didn't completely like black people at all, quite a bit of them was vouching for him 10 plus years ago. The Oprahs was on stage with him. All the celebrities was on stage, and he even got a TV show. You know what I'm saying? So none of us boycotted him to be off TV if we felt like he was just like a big racist, blatant racist. And not that I'm taking up for him or vouching for her or vouching for neither one of them. I feel like it's gonna do. I want to say I don't feel like they're gonna do anything because she's in office now, and I don't know what she's done. I don't know what the old white man did. I don't find no old white people caring about anything that we got going on. I really just think that we got to get away from thinking that everything is about race and just kind of worry about, getting your money. Just run it up, get your money. If he in office, he claiming he gonna, everybody like, oh yeah. So most black people, they relate or think that they relate to Donald Trump on basis of doing he was sending out stimulus checks and stuff like that. The man wasn't sending out. Everybody sent out checks. Every president sent out some checks. And some received and some didn't receive. I received nothing from none of them. You understand? So I can't really understand either side, but I just think that race factors into everything. But I'm just wondering, it can't just be the leading thing for our peoples to just be like he big racist. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when you're going against somebody, you're doing whatever you can to defeat them. When you playing basketball, you would love to bowl the person in the face to get them up off, but you can't because there's rules and stuff like that. Or if you're doing whatever, regardless of what type of combat you're doing, if it's presidential combat, or if it's boxing, man, there's a lot of trash talking. It's a lot of I hate this person, da da da. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know if Shawty might have broke down the wall. Donald might have hit that. I have no idea what type of. Huh?
He said Donald might have hit that.
Hey, listen, she was at the parties back in the day. Let's not forget. She was with Montel with Williams or Jordan. She was
one of the Montels.
Yeah, she was with the bonehead Montel, Montel Williams. She was with. So if you out at the Hollywood parties, you around Donald Trump already. So I don't know. I'm not gonna disrespect the lady or whatever. I'm not gonna disrespect the old white man. But what I can say is race factors into everything. We ain't gonna get no reparation with her. We ain't gonna get nothing from him. We're not gonna get anything. You're gonna have to literally strap your boots on and get yours. And if you're not out here trying to get yours and you're really worried about this race, I mean, I haven't voted yet, but I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna flip a coin when I walk up in there. Who gets me today? I might do that. I don't know, but it's nothing that she has done to make me feel like she can be the best candidate, and it's definitely nothing that he has done for us. Absolutely. So yeah, he's he's a racist old white man, but we should have been on his. Excuse me. We should have been on him. Don't wait now. You know what I'm saying? We should have been on him. We should have been canceled him. We should have been figured out. We should have. But black folks was watching The Apprentice. They was right there watching Omarosa. We was right there, cheering. He was with all the ditties and the celebrities and hanging out with everybody. Now, I don't know.
First and foremost, I'm gonna start this off by saying I did vote. I have voted already.
Okay.
I did vote for Kamala. But I'm gonna try and stay on topic because I'm not gonna do the weave. But let me say this. I'm hearing, is the presidential race about race? The rally yesterday at Madison Square Garden alone lets me know that the answer is yes. Because if it wasn't, they would have spent time talking about things that mattered to all Americans and not just a subset group of Americans. One. Two, just because former President Trump, who did not get reelected, for a second term, and here he going, he's trying to go for a second term now. He's very divisive. Everything that he's been speaking on, or what I've been noticing, when it comes to the contrast between his rallies and Vice President Kamala's rallies, there's a stark contrast in the energy, and whether or not, I believe one of the other candidate is going to give me more of something with their, next 4 years. I'm more fearful of what's about to be taken away should one side get a hold of the highest job in this country. And as a veteran, as somebody who would have had to take, if I would have stayed in active duty, would have had to take orders from the likes of an individual like him, someone that we blatantly, we know he lied. He can't even keep up with his truths, right? And to see how comfortable people who are actually who have a hateful demeanor are around him makes me question if it's anything other than race involved. Yes, there are policies, but if it to me, if it wasn't about race, we would be speaking on the things that benefit the majority of American and not just a subset group of Americans. And what it feels like to me is that we're choosing either between a future where we're working towards people having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and someone who fantasizes about dictatorships. The fact that I can't, okay, so when it comes to politics, I usually keep my opinion to myself, but I'll pay attention to what's happening around me because I also understand that policy does affect the money. And if you follow the money, you will see where people head at and how they're moving. And it's funny enough, because I'm invested in spaces like crypto space, the crypto space is heavy Republican because they believe that because of, Democrats have been in the way of innovation when it comes to crypto. So I'm around Republicans when it comes to that. So I see a lot of the way they think and the things that they comfortably say about other people who don't look like them is what makes me believe that for them, it's about race. It might not be about race for us, but for them, do I think it's about the color of someone's skin? Yes. The fact that people were comparing Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden yesterday to Hitler situation at that same venue, 1939 or whatever year it was, and to say, oh, but they had Black people and other people there. I'm not going to ignore what they said. And what was really making me worrisome is when it comes to race is he's been saying, y'all, just like you said, he's been the same person, right? We should have been stopped him, right? And since we ain't, so we should just let the chips fall as they may. No, because my rights are in the hands of these people. My life literally is I got a niece. She might grow up to have less freedom than her great grandmother. And that's insane to me. I'm sorry. And as somebody who tends to think before they speak, I find it like appalling that their behavior is being excused for one reason or another when they're telling you exactly who they are. So should Republicans come back into power in the presidency and he do all the things he said he was going to do, we can't look up and be like, we didn't know it was going to be this bad, when for the last 8 years he's been telling us, like, what were you listening to? I don't know. So that's as you can see, the way I'm talking, I'm usually the positive and happy one, but it don't sit well with me spiritually. And this isn't to say that Kamala Harris is going to be the best president ever. I would love to see how well a woman do if, given the chance to have power and to use her capabilities and skill sets, or even just be a representation for the greatest president of all time that's in the future to have a chance at being in that position. It shouldn't be about race. To me, I feel like it's supposed to be common sense, but what I've learned as an adult is just common sense ain't common no more. We moving more senseless as a country, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating having the conversations, but we got to, because if not, the type of behavior we're seeing on display, national television, everywhere, is going to continue unless we take the steps in the right direction that not only benefits one race, but that benefits everybody or the majority. I understand everybody ain't going to be happy one way or the other. That's just is what it is. However, let's use our brains. Like let's make sense of these things. Like I remember, going through history class and the Holocaust and thinking, damn, how did they really let Buddy get in power like that? But we're watching it happen in real time in this day and age, and it's insane. Like it blows my little mind. So, do I think this presidential race is about race? Absolutely. Because that's what they're saying. Like, I'm not gonna ignore the words coming out of their mouth, the words that they're typing on social media platforms, and I'm not gonna ignore the words of the people who are following their leader in that route. At Kamala's events, people are joyful. They're there to learn something. They're gonna get their question answered directly versus the contrast on the other side. He gonna do the weave. He gonna ramble. They beating up their own people, and it just so happened that the person they beat up was black, also a Trump supporter. Didn't make sense to me, but it's not about race, I guess. However, let's just make it make sense. Like, let's really just make it make sense. There's a lot that could be talked about, this particular presidential election and the one happening 2 years from now when it comes to the other positions of power, Congress, and all of that stuff. But I think we should really quit playing and really inform ourselves, because we got 8 days before a decision is made, before the tallies are totaled, and whatever comes is what we're gonna have to deal with for the next 4 years. And for a person to say out their mouth that this will be the last election you'll have to vote in, that scares the shit out of me. So
sorry to interrupt, but I do want to let you know something just in case you're unaware. All right, this podcast actually is sponsored by a church. This platform was actually created by a pastor, Pastor Elmer Wilson, the pastor of New Beginning Ministries of Tampa. Listen, I know sometimes you may hear content on here that may not sound the holiest of holies, but that's the point. We allow people to come on here and express themselves and be themselves the way that they talk or the way that they think, the way they operate. It ain't no judgment. Hey, do you, boo-boo? Do you, okay? But nonetheless, if you live in the Tampa Bay area, we want to invite you to church, all right? 11323 North Nebraska Avenue. That's where we located, okay? Tampa, Florida. Pull up on us. You live in the Tampa area, pull up, man. We'd love to see you. Okay, we'd love to see you. And if for whatever reason you can't pull up in person, you need to do a live stream, attend virtually, we go live at 12 noon every single Sunday. The real service in person is at 11 a.m. The live stream is at 12 noon, okay? On Facebook, you can watch it. On YouTube, you can watch it. Facebook is New Beginning Ministries of Tampa. YouTube, New Beginning Ministries of Tampa TV. Facebook, New Beginning Ministries of Tampa. YouTube, New Beginning Ministries of Tampa TV. Okay, we go live at 12 noon on the dot, and if you want to come in person, we go live at 11. All right, pull up on us, man. We'd love to see you. We'd love to see you. All right, come join us. Let's see your face right here at New Beginning Ministries of Tampa.
Welcome to the podcast.
All right. Now go back to listening to this unholy podcast.
I just got to say this, man, because so far as like people asking Mark, who you gonna vote for? And it was a movie that Richard Pryor played in, and he ran for president, and you probably remember Brewster Millions, and he was came into a lot of money and stuff, and they told him it's the way you had to spend his money, so he ran for election. So he said, vote for none of the above. That's what he was saying. He said, don't vote for me, don't vote for nobody. Because we ain't gonna do nothing but mess it up. Okay. Now, so far as me and women, I ain't had no good luck with women. And I had a lot of them, a whole lot of them. A whole lot of them at the same time. So it's like me and women, I wouldn't even dream about voting for a woman. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I mean that. Because they wake up.
Because of your experiences with a woman?
Oh, yeah. Having 5 sisters and being around my aunts and, I got a lot of uncles and stuff. But this is why. It's women move different. They do. They do. I don't care what nobody say. I have watched it. I've been around women, like I ain't gonna really say how and the business we used to be in and
Right.
stuff.
I
But
understand.
listen, man,
Right.
I know they move different, and they could wake up just like a storm. It could be they could say something and it'll be switched from the end of the day. So you talk about somebody like that might wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We all do. To run the world, I ain't happy with that one. I don't care what color you be tomorrow. It's just different for me. But so far, Donald Trump, this man ain't changed about who he is. Like I was saying, he had the show Apprentice, and Vivica Fox, she won. She won on one of the shows. And and Snoop Dogg was talking about smoking weed with him and all this, and everybody was loving him. So he's that same person. But let me tell you how smart this white man is. See, everybody, it's a smokescreen. It's a mirage. Something you see is not. Now, everybody was focusing on him, right? So far as locking him up, you get all these things. Everybody forgot about that. You don't even hear about that. They had him in their hand. All they had to do is hold him. They so focused on Puff Daddy doing this and that. You know, it's like the hare and the turtle. You know what I'm saying? He went all around trying to win the race, and the turtle steady going. And he rested and all that. Turtle steady going. By the time you look up, he over the finish line. Everybody's stuck on one thing, and he's crossing the line. People just don't see it. He's saying all this crazy stuff. But one thing I respect about him, his First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. Our people fought in the street for freedom. A freedom of speech, a freedom to be something, just to be, acknowledged. So he used that. He said anything he want out of his mouth. People talk about it, but they ain't doing nothing about it. You say you want to do something about it, but what they doing about it? They even in court. I don't hear about him going to trial no more, and none of this. Everybody talking about it, and if he get in that check, yeah, you ain't got to worry about none of that because all that goes away. So this is what I'm saying is people focusing on the wrong thing instead of sticking to their game plan. Say you're gonna have to do this trial. You're gonna have to do this. I don't care nothing about no election. You understand me? Once you come for the election, you need to get to court and stuff. But they don't forgot about everything. It's nothing to being done. He just easing on by. And that's the way it is. That's when the race car plays in. You know what I'm saying? I bet you one of us couldn't do it. I guarantee you, if that was Obama when he was in the chair and he did something crazy, they'd have helped him at that, impeached him. You understand? Mm-hmm. So it's like this here. We talk what's this and that stuff, but ain't nobody really doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? So look here, it's like this. We just got to see how the chips fall because 8 days ain't a lot you can do.
I mean, I what Precious said, I definitely understand. See, some people are fighting for different types of stuff. We all not fighting. Everybody not fighting for the same type of rights. Mm-hmm. Everybody not fighting for the same type of America neither. Mm-hmm. And that's really geared towards our people, and especially we aren't on the same page at all. And I just think we just get all wrapped up. Period. Like even with what Mark was saying, even with the Diddy situation, black folks dragged him. Not black folks ain't dragging Donald Trump. He got the same type of charges. He got similar type of charges. He was grabbing women by the yacker also, and doing a bunch of stuff. But we wasn't on social media dragging him. We have a tend to drag our own peoples and drag them right to the graveyard. But we don't drag nobody else. We don't have no power with nobody else. We don't have no power with the white folks. We don't have no power with the Asians. We don't have no power with nobody else. So all we can really do is fight about race. That's all we can do is really fight for race. But none of us are coming together to run the bag up together. And that's my thing. Like, you got what, 20? How many people you got on here? How many of these people on this thing are invested in the same type of thing or working together in one cause to do something? Then we can really move needles and things like that. I just think sometimes we get caught up in race. No, we're not getting the reparation. We need to be suing for crack. We need to be suing for the crack epidemic. We don't need to sue for slavery. We need to sue for whatever they done after of that. We ain't got no lawsuits out. 40 people ain't got together and put no lawsuits. 100 people ain't come together and put no lawsuits out on anybody. But you got all these brothers and sisters for whatever sexuality they come from or whatever lifestyle they come from. They suing the hell out of Diddy. They all in the courthouse suing Diddy.
Right.
But we ain't suing none of the people that hung our peoples or Zimmerman who walking around free and all these people walking around free and doing stuff to us. We ain't worried about all that. So I just think that sometimes we just get caught up on race. And then a lot of us aren't fighting for the same type of America. I might not be fighting for the same type of America that Precious is fighting for. She might be fighting for black. I'm not fighting. Some folks are fighting for rights to have certain sexualities and certain types of things. I'm not fighting for that same type of America. I'm married. I have children. My American as a black man might be different. I might be cool with a felon being the president. I might not be cool with the prosecutor. I might not be cool because the prosecutor. I might can relate to Donald Trump. A lot of people can actually relate to Donald Trump on the fact, and again, trust me when I tell you, I'm not on here pushing no specific party as of now. Nobody's not gonna know what I'm doing until I walk into the booth. So I might hit a G before I hit the booth. You never know. I might be, I go in there. You never know. But we gotta and I didn't see the rally from yesterday. And all the rhetoric this white man is talking about. White people ain't never stood on nothing anyway. So what else can we do? They never really stood on much. In my eyes. I only know one white man that was a good dude, and that was my grandfather. And you can't tell because my daddy African. So all that it knocked out of my system anyway. But I just feel like, I wasn't expecting anything major from this white man. I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting him. In the world we living in, it's all about shock value. He was on Twitter making people shocked. What would make you think that he not gonna be at the rally spitting off any of that wild stuff? He like clickbait. He like trolling. He like being the top of the paper. He like being on top of the TV. He like all of this. He has mastered the media. He has really mastered how to manipulate the media. And that's something that we haven't been able to really do. So I just think that some of us are just fighting for different type of America. There's nothing that anyone who has said on here that was wrong. I respect everybody's opinion. I respect Precious' opinion, Mark's opinion. I hope they respect mine. And not that I'm saying that, like Mark said some real, stuff. He was like, from what background he come from, he ain't vote. He not with the voting for women. And then there's a lot of men out. It's a lot of people out here that think the same way. They're not willing to. They got wives and girlfriends and sisters, and they know the time of the month, and they know certain things that they might not be willing to. Like, hold on, Shawty might wake up like he said, on the wrong side of the bed and be mad. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump ain't gonna set this bitch on fire because he's white and that's what they do. But we know already. We know they've been burning down America forever before we was here. Your mama and them before your mama and them was here. Before my mama and them was here, they've been burning down America. But we all survived through all the stuff. We all survived. A lot of us survived. A lot of our ancestors and people that are 80, 90 years old, they lasted with all the racist rhetoric, all the crazy stuff. I'm just not really sure, who's gonna be, the better candidate. We also had him as a president. He ain't burned down America. COVID was bad, but we still here. We lost some people, but a lot of us are still here. We kind of pushed through. But no one has. I don't know, man. It's tough to really say if this is just based on race or not. we just got to kind of get away from everything about race. You know, some of this stuff is about, you know, some of these people are fighting for their rights to certain sexualities and certain types of stuff. We just gotta recognize that everybody that's, you know, our people is their, you know, whatever they like first, and then their race. And a lot of people are like that. And you know, a lot of people are for what they believe in their bedroom, and and not what they, you know, not fighting really for their race. You're fighting kind of for two things. A lot of people are fighting for two things, or multiple things.
A vice president doesn't make administrative decisions in the administration. If you think about when Biden was vice president with Obama, you didn't hear a whole lot about what he was doing. You know, the president is the one that is held responsible. They're doing work and stuff behind the scenes, and they say they're the last one in the room, you know, to give their opinion. But bottom line, it's the president who makes the decision. It's the president, you know, they're the heavyweight, they're the ones that, and the vice president. And so I think a strategy that the Trump side is doing, which they're doing well, is to say, you know, she was in office, she was in office, she was in office. She wasn't the president. If Biden was still running, he could validly use that. But the vice president doesn't have that kind of decision-making ability, you know, as the vice president. However, I heard, I forget who said it, that the administration didn't do anything, the current administration. I'm not on here to pump Biden or Harris or whatever, but I just, the facts of the matter is they gave 1.3 billion to HBCUs. Trump is touted for re-upping something I think President Bush started giving to HBCUs. It was 250 million to various things. The HBCUs got 90 million that he had crossed off of the budget until people said, well, we could get, and you might remember that picture. What if we get all the HBCU presidents into the White, you know, Oval Office, and you take a picture? That's the only reason he re-upped 90 million to go to all of the HBCUs so he could do the photo shoot and look like he was doing something for Black people. The infrastructure bill that this administration passed, it impacts. You know, I think we get caught up sometimes, Black people, if it's not said, this bill is for the Black people, but we largely are benefiting from that. You know, the water problem in Flint and in Mississippi and the roads and whatever, because it's our areas that have the worst infrastructure. And so we largely are benefiting from a bill like that and other measures. And so just because it may not say this is specifically for Black people, we benefit from certain things that are put into place. Now, I don't want to talk as much about race. I think we all know, we live in America, we all know race is the issue, but I think they've taken race to divide us and to cause us to be at each other and make it a whole thing. I agree with Precious. One of my biggest concerns for this election is the freedom that not only me and my children and my grandson and those coming behind me. And I think because we all are of an age where we were born into this and we had a right to freedom of speech and we can protest if we want to. He's already told us, you know, I would hate for us to wake up on whatever day they finally call the election and then stuff start happening, then we want to hit the streets. That's not going to happen anymore. He's already said he's going to use the military to not allow it to happen. And so the rights that we just don't even think about having because we just have always had it in our lifetime will not be there. And that's concerning. The various ways that, you know, if we tap into it, I think CJ said, and get together and want to make money, all of that, a lot of that's not going to be there. Donald Trump really he doesn't care about the poor middle class white people either. You're very rich, very, the Elon Musk, those are 1% or whatever of the world. That and himself, number one, is the main person he really cares about. But he people said, and I heard Obama said it, and I had already known that, but it was very true. People said, well, when he first got in office, money was things were a little better because he benefited from the work Obama had done the other 8 years and handed him that economy. And so right before COVID, things were pretty good because of the measures and things that Obama had put in place, including how to handle a pandemic that he handed to him that he ignored. And yeah, thank God all of us made it because we're here talking to each other. But, over 1 million people died in America, and they estimate 600,000 of those did not have to die had he handled the pandemic correctly and not ignored it, not said, oh, it'll be gone by the end of March and put some bleach in your arms and all, just the mismanagement. All of us know somebody who died, I would venture to say, from COVID. And that's a lot of lives to be responsible for because you mismanaged and ignored what was in place to be ready for a pandemic and how to handle a pandemic. And then it's just so much. But as far as him being a racist, well, I lived in New York, and him and his dad did. They had codes on the application that people put in for those apartments, and their apartments weren't cheap. So we weren't talking about, lower income people trying to get in there. That indicated they were Black, and they would not. You couldn't get in those apartments. Everybody remembers the Central Park Five. Those young men, now they're out, but spent how many years in jail, and he's taken out ass, and he tried to get them executed. And even after they were exonerated, he still held fast to, he felt like they did it and to his actions. When Obama, he was at the forefront of birtherism. He wasn't born here. And so, what they say, if they quack like a duck, walk like a duck, whatever, it's a duck. So I think we're clear that he has some issues with racism. He also has issues with misogyny. I mean, as a female, he does not respect females. He just doesn't. We all heard that on the bus. The man he was talking to even got fired for just laughing and giggling at what he was talking about. So while he does not respect females, and I'm not a male, so I can't say this from a male perspective, but I do, I am a Black female, and I do know, we are different. Females and males are different, but I do know as a Black female, we have held down our sons and our men and our fathers, our nephews, and our whatever. Even if we wake up and we feel we've held it down when our sons and our men were not even around. We held it down. And so, but we're females, and I think so I'll just leave that part right there. And so, I don't know how many of you really have looked at Project 2025. They talk about it a lot. You ought to really look at it. And, how many of us or our parents and grandparents are either on or were on, Medicare. That's all they had was their Social Security benefit, because as a people, especially in that age, we didn't know about 401ks and investing and had pensions or whatever. So Social Security was their main source of income to try to pay the little rent and buy the medicine and all of that. And they were trying to get rid of it. The Republicans been trying to get rid of it, and the Democrats have been kind of holding it down. But if he gets in there, that's likely to dwindle on away. And how many of our people are going to be hurt by that? Because we are largely on that. And the economists, by and large, look at the two plans and say, if you want to follow the money, and say we will be in the middle of a freaking recession before next year is out with Trump's plan. And so, no, nobody is perfect. Even when Obama ran, I heard him say, you're not going to agree with everything I do. Nobody is. Too many people. Somebody's going to be unhappy. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to have a president. And right now, it's either going to be Kamala Harris or it's going to be Donald Trump. And so How you might want to think of it as lesser of two evils, however you want to think of it. Whether you vote or not, we are going to have a president. And so if my vote can go for someone who is more likely, I mean, nobody ever knows who's more likely to at least institute or stand for or support things that will help the average citizen. I'm not that concerned that she's saying, I'm going to do this for the Black people or whatever. No president, Obama couldn't even do that. They said we're president for all Americans. We're definitely going to benefit, but for all Americans. And so I want to stand for somebody. Yes, she was a prosecutor, and sometimes as Black people, we see them as the enemy. But no, prosecutors are for the people. They prosecute people who commit crimes, by God. If somebody comes in here and kills somebody in my family, I want somebody who's going to prosecute that person. They commit crimes. And as a prosecutor out in California, she established programs to try to help recidivism and to try to help those that were and so I just think sometimes we take little tidbits of information that they've given us and we run with it without doing a little more investigation. And to me, I think, this time around, I think Precious said it. He's already indicated if he gets in there, he's not getting out. It's not going to be anymore. And see, we can't even fathom that. Just stomach 4 more years. If it's not that bad, we'll go. He's already said that. And then his vice president is no better. So let's say he's older, he fools around and dies. Oh my God, Vance is a smart Trump, and that's even worse because he's a smart Trump. And so with the Supreme Court decision of giving the president immunity, he's already said he's going after the people who don't support him. He can go after congressmen and from the biggest to the littlest person, and nothing will happen. The indictments and stuff he has now, and it is frustrating that he has all these indictments. He has 34 convictions and nothing has happened yet. One of the reasons why? Because he appointed over 200 federal judges across this land, so that when things roll up, like here in Florida where I am, they found all of those top secret documents, and the judge that he appointed threw it out. That's why he appointed. So when stuff rolls out, he threw it out. So some of it is systemic. Why, besides him, and I understand. I've said that myself. Bill Cosby, Diddy. If you did it, I think you need to be prosecuted and go to jail. But I'm just saying, he did it too, and he's walking around. In Florida, you have my young brother might have had a few ounces of weed on a school ground. He got a felony. He cannot vote here in Florida. But here he is with 34 convictions, and they probably show him when he goes to the poll to vote. And so we know there's inequity, and he's already said CRT, critical race theories, when he gets in, don't have to worry about it being in no school. Excuse me? So that is fascism. That is communism, where you control the information that people get. You control the information the kids get so you can control their minds and don't tell them the full truth. Guys, that's more than just basic. We don't understand. We won't have the same America that we all know. Now, I'm not saying we won't live through it or whatever, but we won't have the same America and the same liberties and freedoms that we all were born with and just so used to having, until we just think it's automatic, it's going to be that way. It's not. And he is telling us, they have it in print about what is about to happen. And it's bigger. For me, it's not a race thing. For me, it is way bigger than race. It's about freedom. And nobody is perfect. Kamala's not perfect, but I tell you one thing that's in her policy, and that is whatever your stance is on legalization of marijuana, she supports it, but she also supports giving credits and money so Black people can get into the business. My husband is one that says, oh my God, whether you're for it or not, they're about to make all this money and Black people are not able to get into that business to make the money. She's looking at giving credits so that people can also get in, if it's legalized nationally, get into the business and get a piece of that pie. And so I just think, and I know politicians get a bad rap, and I'm not very, political. I could never be a politician because of what they, but I just think somebody's going to be in that Oval Office. And if I have to select somebody, I want somebody that appears at least, and you look at her life's work, to at least can identify somewhat with the average person and who can, when you look at some of the things they've done, do kind of try to reach out and try to help at least somebody and not just think about themselves and to remove rights and privileges that our ancestors died and bled and marched and got cracked in the head and all of that, trying to vote and get rights and that kind of thing. What would have happened if the civil rights movement, King and all of those people said, well, it is what it is, it's going to be, we'll live. Oh my God, we wouldn't be sitting here on this Zoom even having this conversation. And so I just think we just need to be careful. Some people call it the okie doke or whatever. I don't know if it's the okie doke, but be careful. One more thing, and then I'm gonna two things, and I'm gonna relinquish my time. But one of the sisters, a friend that goes to the church, they have really targeted our Zers? No, that 18 to 25, whatever that is, before the millennials, and because they're not watching news enough, they're on social media, and they're putting so many ads and stuff and so she's a young girl, she's 21, 22, and she was kind of saying she was going to vote for Trump. So when the debate came on, she made her watch the debate, and she said her daughter kept running in her room and said, Mom, did you hear what he said? Oh my goodness, you hear what he said? I can't vote for him. And she said, this is what I'm telling you. You need to see for yourself, what he's about. And then one more, and Keisha Lance Bottoms, who used to be the mayor of Atlanta, she's now something in the administrative in Washington. She said just the other day, she has a 14-year-old son, and she said her son told her, Mom, they put so many negative ads about Harris Walsh, negative. He said you can't even get around them, like to close them out to keep your game going or whatever you're doing. They are deluging, and our young people and such, that's all where they are. So they hear sound bites. That's what you hear all the time. So that's what you believe all the time. And that's their strategy. His own press secretary said it at the convention, the Democratic convention, that he taught her. He said she said he would tell her, just keep saying it over and over, just no matter what, keep saying it over and over again, and then eventually they'll believe you. And that's his strategy. That's why he says lies over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually it kind of gets in the psyche of people, and they kind of take on what he has said. And so I know I'm kind of rambling, but it's just, I think sometimes this election and its outcome is a little more serious than we all can almost can kind of wrap our minds around. It is not just another election and we get 4 more years of Reagan or we get 4 more years of Trump and we'll be, we'll stomach that and the next person will come along. It's a little more serious than that this time.
And you know how I was raised. I wasn't really raised in a political atmosphere. This is gonna be my first time. It may be my first time voting, but I guess I'm a low information voter, and it took a while because I was just like, I don't really see, like, for me, I live up north now, so when I hear Trump, I don't necessarily hear the racism. I just hear somebody who talk like a New Yorker. So for me, it's like he talk like the rest of these New Yorkers, and what I consider racism coming from the South is different than what I see up north. But I will say Roland Martin, I watched he was at Edward Waters College, I believe it was.
That's where I
That's your
graduated.
school, right?
That's where I graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got me. So I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't rock with Trump. And I'm kind of like I'm learning how to do the policy. So for me, I don't really I don't necessarily feel the whole racism thing. Like that ain't necessarily my issue because racism for me is don't touch me. Like I don't really care about being called a nigga and all that kind of stuff. Like as long as you don't touch me, we good. But I have been paying attention to the response of Trump's voter base. And I haven't been able to make sense of it, just like see it. But I do know that whatever he's doing that I'm not seeing as racist, they definitely giving plan when they respond to it. And so I'm like, his undercurrent is mean, but he definitely getting a very racist response from the stuff he's doing. I think I've been tainted by all of the negative press about Kamala. But just like her, the information that I've been able to get, it's like I don't really know who's who. Like I'm definitely not a fan of wokeism. I'm I associate wokeism and liberalism with the Democratic Party. So that kind of turns me off from the Democrat. But as far as the whole racist thing, I hear them calling him racist. And I'm just like, yeah, there's other reasons not to vote for that guy. But he definitely gets a very racist response and reaction from his voter base or some of his voter base, which is yeah, I can't explain that. But I will say, like, when I started getting into the political realm, the people that caught my ear was like the Ben Shapiro's, the Brandon Tatums. Those are the people that I listen to and it kind of, for whatever reason, resonates with me. But I am currently I'm elevating in my information about certain things. Like when I first started with the Project 2025 thing, I didn't see as much as I saw once I listened to like Roland Martin break it down. And then I was like, ooh, yeah. Like Auntie Lionel said, yeah, that JD Vance is a cuss word. Yeah, like I this is gonna go live, so I wouldn't say anything more than that. But yeah, he is I'm not voting. Not that I would vote for Trump anyway, but I would not vote for Trump to keep JD Vance from even having a chance of getting in there because that dude he's racist to me. I don't care about him being married to no Indian woman or nothing. He's a racist. I understand the Indian caste system, so for him, he might still be married to a white woman, but he's racist. But that's I've gone as far as I've been led to go. I'm gonna turn the remainder of the service back into your hands.
Donald Trump is doing the same thing he did when he was in office. This man ain't even been in office. He doing all kind of stuff. He ain't even the president, and he making moves like the president. If you're not looking at it, you know, try to take his money and put it here and there. See, people ain't looking at the big picture. See, we out here. They said Donald Trump sleep. We sleep. He woke. He making y'all think he's crazy and all this stuff. He just battling. But the white people are different than we are. And I'm explaining that quick for you. Ain't gonna take up your time like that. White people stick together no matter what. They don't care what you did. They don't care what you stand for. All they know is right. Black people will drag you through the mud. You do one thing. Black people will party with you, have fun with you. As soon as they hear something bad about you, they'll jump on the bad team and tear you down. I got family members like that. Like my sister. She ain't nothing nice. Yes, she family. You know, you do all you can for them. But as soon as she take her money and drinking and chilling and stuff and come to me and say, oh, I ain't got no lights. I said, well, you know, what you telling me for? You know, oh, I thought you could help me. No, I can't help you with your life. You know what I'm saying? You gonna still be in the dark. Go get some candles, like my mama said. Ain't just for hurricane. Go get you some candles. So we don't talk the truth. We don't tell. It's like we sugarcoat everything. Black people, we the only one that accept everybody. We accept everybody. I go to the store, Walmart, and just trying to get some politicians. They don't speak no English. Everybody over here in Miami can't speak. You don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm in a foreign country, and they look at you like you ain't from here. You think I ain't sick of that? My daughter got to walk around here, 14 years old, and say, what did she say? I said, I don't know. You know? So I was frustrated, and I told her, I said, well, if you can't speak the English, you need to get your ass from over here. You ain't got no business over here. So I feel like most of the people right now is everything over here coming over here. So Donald Trump said he gonna stop that. He might not stop nothing. He might do exactly what he said he gonna do. But look here, everybody got their own stuff. Even the Indians here in Miami, the reservation, they got their check. They get a nice check. I know a couple of them that showed me a check stub. And I'm saying, this is the kind of money y'all getting? He said, yeah, I get 3 of these every month. I said, wow. You know, and they stay on the reservation, and it's in Davie, a big place. Y'all, you know, get an Indian friend so you can go back there and see how these people live. Houses, they got their own stores, they got their own wash house. They ain't even got to come from behind the wall. So everything is set up for everybody else, but when it comes to us, you know, all I ever seen Obama do is party. I ain't never seen him do nothing. I seen him say a few speeches, but when he was in the chair, he can party. Everywhere I looked in this country, that's all I ever seen. So that's what I saw. But when Donald Trump got that chair, everything he did was pen, writing with that pen, up late at night on Twitter. He everywhere. I said, this white boy never sleep. He always doing something. So what I'm saying is, if nobody know who Willie Lynch was, y'all go get the book, go to the library and ask about Willie Lynch. He was a slave owner, taught the rest of the slaves how to keep. He said, I'm going to show y'all how to keep this separated to the end of time. And it's working. So right now, and we talk about the 1800s and all that, and it's still working right now today. So we won't stick up for each other, but we'll tear each other down. But these people come in and make all kind of laws. Y'all follow them because it's out of fear. So I'll tell you like this, when he get in the chair, and he will, y'all remember I said this, man. He'll be sitting right in that chair because it's out of fear with us. What I mean by fear, if you ain't going to stand for nothing, if you ain't going to do nothing about it, what you talk about it for? You scared, you ain't going to do nothing. So I just say this here, like Kendrick Lamar said, they not like us. So y'all be careful out there.
I don't really get into politics. From prom queen all the way to the president of the United States, I think anybody who's running for anything is just a popularity contest. For whatever reason, whether it's race related, whether it's gender related, whether it's just whatever. I think it's just ultimately like, how can I campaign to make you, fall in love with me during my campaign run to eventually, take an office? Like that's like the idea of whatever you're running for, president, sheriff, whatever. And so because I have that mindset, like I don't necessarily look at anybody, just say above the rest. But I think one of the things that stuck with me the most that was said tonight was something CJ said, which is everybody does appear to be voting for a different type of America. Like everybody is voting for an America that serves them. Even in, and maybe systemically over time, it's just developing to this, but even just in all the rhetoric around it, like nobody is really seeming like they're saying like, hey, how can we vote for somebody, or how can we create a system that helps everybody, even the people I don't like, the people I do like, the people, you know, who agrees with me, who don't agree with me. How can I help everybody? It's the voting season just seems like, how can I help me and my side and what it is, you know, that I believe in. And it just gets real messy. I think politics is real messy. I think, you know, Democrats and Republicans are, you know, another version of Blood and Crips. You know what I'm saying? It just people just two more reasons for people to be divisive and hate each other. But ultimately, I mean, I do think people should vote. You know, for more reasons than one. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. None of us, no matter how we feel, we can't control what anybody's going to do when you go to the polls. But I would encourage everybody to find a way to think about everybody in totality and not just think about yourself and your race or yourself and your, you know, whatever just your agenda is. Because I think the more that we make it so divisive, like it's going to always be what it is right now every time it's time to vote. You know, just even the whole MAGA thing, like MAGA thing is a race thing. Like if you're a black person, you wear a MAGA hat, like people will consider you racist. You know what I'm saying? If you're a black person, you're a Republican. Like my whole life, it seemed like black people are Democrats, white people are Republicans. If you're a black Republican, you know, that's like, people don't even call you just, you know, a black person who's just in politics. You're a black Republican. It always just comes down to race. And for me, I think I'm not on us as black people or just us on this Zoom call. I'm saying whoever sees this on YouTube or listens to this on Spotify, whether you're listening to it right now in 2024, or you may randomly come across this one day in 2074. All I'm saying is, if we as a human race decide to love and care about each other and think about each other as a human race, then we wouldn't have so much division among race and religion and gender and everything else. So that's my 2 cents. I think we could get a lot further together than continuing to vote divisively for the remainder of our time. So